Chapter 46. She is a key grooming subject at the company. The word dear surprised him a little, but gazing at Lisa's ravenous expression, he returned to his normal self, all because of money. This Lisa. Could she not exhibit some humility? I'm serious. I wouldn't inform a single individual even if you committed arson or murder. After all, we're in the same boat, aren't we? Lisa said excitedly. James glanced at her. I feel like strangling someone to death, but because of laws and ethics I can't, huh? You can't be that violent. Who makes you want to do that? His gaze absorbed her whole body. No matter how dumb Lisa was, she instantly understood it was her. She realized that her existence had hindered him and Emily from being together. But there was no need to retain such horrible feelings toward her, James. Why are you in such a hurry to kill me when there's no point? Think about it. If you kill me, it'll be irreversible and you'll become a criminal. If we live happily now, I'll get to go my own path and you'll go yours in a few years. Then, you can be with your Miss Emily happily ever after. Isn't that better? There's no need to go through all that trouble, right? James took a deep breath and looked in front of him to let the chauffeur know to ramp up the pace. If he continued chatting with Lisa in this small space much longer, her idiocy might drive him nuts. Upon reaching home, James hurriedly stepped out of the car. He watched as Lisa struggled to get out while the driver swiftly wheeled out her wheelchair. He shook his head and pushed himself to calm down as he walked back to help her into the wheelchair. Later that night, Lisa sat in her room gazing at her phone and reading the news that was already reporting on Olivia's engagement celebration. From the report, the party looked wonderful and enviable. Lisa read the comments underneath, with many noting how beautiful Olivia looked and how handsome her husband was. She sighed and switched off the comments. Lying down, she checked her Weibo. It was always full of discussion. So Lisa switched off the topic. However, she stumbled across the current Weibo discussion, which was particularly long and lively. She opened it to see. The conversation began with a post saying, "Although I do not think you deserve our Nathan, he likes you. So as you feathers, we will give you our blessings." Everybody knew that Nathan's fans called themselves you feathers. Lisa was puzzled. What did it signify that he liked her? Another comment followed. Are they really together? Congratulations. Please treat our Nathan well. He is extremely pure and hardworking. Please don't hurt him. As Lisa read on, she knew that something was not right. Just then, Hannah called her. As soon as Lisa picked up, she heard Hannah say, "Lisa, what's going on? You're together with Nathan. Who's together with who?" Lisa had no clue what had transpired. Nathan just posted on Weibo. You didn't notice it. Of course, Lisa did not know. Everybody is going crazy. Look at what he said. It seems like he has declared his relationship with you and told everyone to leave you alone. Lisa said, "Let me take a look." She hurriedly hung up and checked Nathan's Weibo. There, she saw a long message that was posted merely a few minutes ago. He stated, "From the beginning until now, I've always worked hard and gave my all. I was frightened to disappoint my followers, my company, and all my friends and family who have supported me. There was never a moment when I was living for myself. But now, I aim to live for myself as such. I hope you all will support us." Lisa instantly started reading the comments that followed. Some people who joined in the hot issue commented, "Poor Nathan, let's all support him. Seeing Nathan suffer like this breaks my heart. Regardless of your decision, I will always trust and support you. Celebrities are human too. They need seclusion. We simply take note of your work, and as long as you're good, it doesn't matter who you choose to be with. We will always support you." Lisa felt like she was going insane. The tabloids and Weibo hyped the news, and it said, Nathan's message hints at a declaration of his relationship with fellow actress Lisa. Olivia's engagement, which was all over the headlines, was now shoved to the bottom with this significant news. Lisa's forehead scrunched up. She felt completely helpless. Lisa tried to brush off the remarks after receiving hostile ones, although most of the fans were considerably more kind to her because of Nathan. There were still plenty who stated their desire for her to get dumped. She was not even with him. How could she get dumped? The next day, Lisa hastily raced over to her employer. Hannah looked at her and said, "You don't have to do anything now. The company is handling everything. You best not say anything carelessly, otherwise you might make matters more complicated." Lisa answered gently, "I have nothing to say. I don't even know what I can say. There was nothing going on at all. Is Nathan attempting to drag me down? Hannah was scared that she would want to admit the same thing in order to take the spotlight and make matters worse. The novices who were starting to get popular always had this kind of dilemma. They wanted the fastest way up. As soon as there was a chance to be in the press, they would do everything just to earn some fame and in the process complicate things. However, Lisa had no such ambitions. She seemed absolutely dumbfounded. Hannah believed that she genuinely did not think that way. With this, there was no cause for fear. See chapter 47. Nathan said it had nothing to do with me as the news became so enormous. Lisa could feel all eyes on her when she went to the scene. Upon seeing Lisa enter, Director Fu promptly summoned her. "Ah, Mrs. James is here." Lisa responded, angry. "What Mrs. James? Hasn't Nathan already admitted that you are his wife? That makes you Mrs. James, bastard. There's nothing going on. Watch your mouth. There are reporters everywhere." Reporters were everywhere. If they caught a word, she dared not contemplate what would be in the headlines the next day. The entire team had already acknowledged their relationship. No matter what she said, it would be of no use. Director Fu continued to give her a chair. Come. Mrs. James cannot sit on such a little chair. That is for last-minute actors. We should have a proper seat for you. Come. Let over here. This is all yours. Lisa felt like slapping him. Are you trying to sabotage me? There was a distinct hierarchy in the team. Small actresses like Lisa dared not draw attention. Big, comfy lounge chairs like those were designated for the big performers. Lisa was pleased with finding a space for her own foldable chair as usual. Director Fu chuckled loudly and stated, "It's the director's orders. Nobody will dare to object. Anyway, Lisa, it's time for you to start getting used to it. You're already almost beating Emily in the headlines. You're no longer an unknown minor actress." As he said, Director Fu forced her onto the chair. Lisa's mouth twitched as she sat there. It was really much more comfortable than her own foldable chair. Waiting for a scene was tiring. However, being able to lie there in comfort made a whole lot of difference. The actress at a similar level as Lisa witnessed everything and was dissatisfied. She looked in Lisa's direction with jealousy flashing in her eyes. Too bad it was Lisa that Nathan fell for. At the outset, she assumed that Lisa purposefully caused all this. Now that Nathan admitted on his own accord, there was nothing anybody could say. They could only say that Lisa was one lucky girl. Just then, Nathan entered late. He quickly saw Lisa lying there using her phone and walked over to her without caring about his agent's protests. Everybody's attention followed this newly developed yin-yang combination. Lisa heard a commotion and looked up to see Nathan smirking devilishly at her. The nerve of him to walk over like that. She wanted to punch him. "Hey, you're early." He greeted her with a smile. Lisa jumped up and said, "Nathan, what's the meaning of your Weibo post?" Nathan lifted his hands innocently and said, "What did I say? What did you say? Didn't you state in your previous post something about loneliness, something about loss of freedom, something, well, it's just a standard Weibo post. Just an expression of my feelings to elicit some sympathy," Nathan said nonchalantly and sat down. Lisa stood up and screamed, her voice at Nathan. You. Is that the normal you? Didn't you watch the news?" "I did." He raised his head and stared up at Lisa, who seemed like she was going to burst with wrath. He thought it was cute. Just as she thought. He actually did do this on purpose. Nathan remarked helplessly, "You know how reporters love imagining things. I can't help it. Look, I didn't even mention your name and still they formed a connection to you. I never stated anything about a girlfriend and yet they thought of that too. What can I do?" Lisa gazed at Nathan's careless face. She wanted to rip his mouth out. Yes, he did not specify her name and he didn't outright declare a relationship. But that Weibo tweet was so apparent. He would be lying if he stated it was not purposeful. In any case, you need to delete that Weibo post. Lisa demanded. Nathan smiled and leaned against her chair. "All right. Then I will say that Lisa does not want us to be mistaken. So I will be deleting that post. Get lost, is that not it?" Why you? Lisa was speechless. She was very upset at Nathan, but she just could not win against him. Who said Nathan was cool? He was plainly a pesky little person. At the same time, Ryan was still oblivious of the news between his wife and someone else. Emily called Ryan up in the morning. She wanted to see him. Ryan appeared at Emily's door. Emily gazed at him wistfully. With despair in her eyes, Ryan asked, "What's wrong?" Emily remarked, "Why haven't I heard from you for days?" Ryan started. "I accompanied Lisa back to her home for an engagement party." "What?" Emily fumed. "You've been ignoring me because of her?" Ryan could hear the venom that Emily felt towards Lisa in her speech. His brows wrinkled. He remarked in a disappointed tone, "Emily, this is not her fault. I had to marry. And because of me, she was forced into this marriage as well." Emily's heart hurt as she glanced at Ryan. She recognized that she was being irritable and had said some terrible things. She puckered her lips, grabbed at his sleeves, and murmured, "But I don't like her at all." Ryan understood it was natural for her to have such feelings. He added, "I know that. But I just want to say that this is all my fault. Don't blame her." Emily's lips clenched as she gazed at him. "I don't like it even more when you keep speaking up for her." Ryan, I'm just so lonely. When I'm alone, I think of how you and she are together, formally married and living the life we've always desired, living together calmly and cheerfully. Do you know how I feel? I can't help but imagine things." Ryan felt agony in his heart. Emily added, "From the moment you were sick, we stuck together. But your family never approved of us. It's a lot of strain on me, you know?" Ryan realized that she went through a lot for him. Emily's tears flowed down her cheeks as she said, "Can you accompany me to the villa for a walk?" Ryan sighed. "All right." The two of them drove to the villa near the river. This was Ryan's villa. The magnificent scenery and wooden villa made a comforting sight. Emily arrived feeling much better. She pulled off her coat as she watched Ryan gather wood outside for the fireplace. Breathing in the aroma of the wood mixed with the movie, this was perfect happiness. Emily gazed at Ryan, who was on one knee preparing the wood with profound concentration, the muscles on his arms flexing sexily. She could not stop staring. Chapter 48. I need to go back and settle this. Nathan looked up to see Emily lying there seductively. He did not think much of it. After all, they grew up playing together. They were all too familiar with each other. It was merely that Emily's chest seemed to be particularly high as she lay there, resembling a hill. It seemed enormous, yet strange. He had not noticed previously, but he suddenly thought of Lisa's remarks. Fake chests are easy to tell. It will stay standing high even when one lies down. When did Emily do her chest? He could not recall her mentioning it actually. Nathan was not against women having cosmetic surgery. As long as she enjoyed it, he did not care. The quest of beauty was human nature. However, he never heard Emily talk about it. He was inquisitive and questioned Emily. "Emily, when did you have cosmetic surgery?" Emily quickly elevated her chest, unnaturally staring at it as she touched her chin. She did had a few spots done. Cosmetic surgery was becoming so normal. But she absolutely did not want Nathan to know. She silently went for it after each time. She seized the opportunity to go overseas for a bit and returned after recovering. A man like Nathan, who was too absorbed with work, never noticed such things. Naturally, he never asked questions like those till now. I didn't." "Why did you suddenly ask?" Nathan gazed at her and felt like he could not look anymore. "Nothing, just asking." She looked down at her chest and thought that it should look natural. Of course, she went to the most costly place with the best resources and best doctor. Those C-cups were not inexpensive. Not expecting Nathan to be able to tell, she grinned and replied, "My body is all natural. I have not done anything to it. You must believe that it's too perfect. That's why you believed I had surgery, right?" Nathan grinned as he didn't sure what to say. "Yes, your body is nice," Emily answered. "But of course, I generally pay attention to my physique. I perform loads of yoga and keep it nicely. Everybody believes my skin is flawless. My body is perfect thanks to my mother, who was a beauty. I look like her. So I'm gorgeous as well. Don't you agree that I'm beautiful?" Nathan stared at her face and grinned. "Yes, you are beautiful. However," he looked at her face and thought that it was unusual. If she looked like her mother, she should have single eyelids. Her eyes would not be so huge and her double eyelids would not be so distinct. More importantly, her chin was too pointy. Her mother was a famous round-faced beauty, but Nathan kept his ideas to himself, looking at Emily. Her skin was indeed nice, but Lisa's skin was considerably fairer and softer somehow. The image of Lisa's pristine skin appeared in his thoughts. She actually was fairer than most other women, perhaps because she was so white. Her face did not look exceptionally striking, however. Staring at her was like looking at a porcelain doll. She looked delicate. "Nathan, I'm talking to you." "What are you thinking about?" Emily shouted and sat up unhappily. Nathan got up and said, "Nothing. I was thinking that you didn't have to put forth so much effort. I like you not because you're skinny, but because regardless of how you appear, you will always be beautiful." He still remembered how when they were small, she staggered over to him in her little princess dress and murmured to him, "Brother Nathan, nobody wants to play with you. I will play with you." From that moment, he convinced himself that he had to treat her well. It was only that looking at Emily now, he could not help but feel that Lisa was right. She must have done something to her chest. However, Emily not only refused to confess it, she even lied to him. Nathan realized that everyone has their own beauty ideals. Perhaps she did not tell him so that she could feel her body was all natural and a God's gift, but Nathan would not have minded any of it. He was only concerned with the fact that Emily would actually lie to him. However, he did not reveal her. He believed that she had her own reasons. He grinned and said nothing else. He finished setting up the fireplace, but because of the weather it did not burn much. They could only appreciate the sense of it. The two of them sat on the sofa. Nathan turned on the television and took the controller. Just as he intended to turn to a movie, he saw the news play out on screen. After Ethan hinted at a relationship, there were no further comments from the crew. The management has also made it harder to pry. Ethan has never been rumored with another female actress. Thus everyone is anticipating this romance with optimism. The television flashed an image of Ethan and Lisa together. Emily immediately recognized Ethan. "What's going on? Why is Ethan messing around with Lisa?" Those remarks made Nathan's face become absolutely dark. Emily saw his face and thought that he was upset. She placed additional weight in her tone. "This Lisa is too unscrupulous. How can she get together with your brother?" "How shameless," Nathan answered. "This has nothing to do with Lisa." Emily listened and stated gently, "It takes two hands to clap. How could that have nothing to do with her? I believe Lisa is not like this," he said adamantly. Emily snorted. "You believe her? That is so naive of you. I have seen too many uncultured girls like her. They would do anything for money. What's more is that she's in the entertainment industry." "Enough." Nathan got up from his seat. Emily was taken aback. Immediately, she followed Nathan and got up angrily, holding back her tears as she shouted, "You yelled at me. Nathan! You yelled at me for this woman." Nathan paused and looked at Emily. "It's not because of her. Ethan is also in the entertainment industry, and he's also not that kind of person. There must be a reason behind this whole matter." Nathan got up and decided not to stay any longer. He took his coat and stated, "I'm going to settle this matter. You're going now." Emily remarked regretfully, "You said you would keep me company." Nathan answered Emily, "This news will cause a lot of trouble if people see it. It's best I hurry and take care of it." Emily tightened her teeth. He was right, she pounded her foot on the ground. "I don't care. You must make it up to me. I seldom get to be with you and now you're leaving." Nathan sighed. He was in no mood to amuse her. He grinned patronizingly and added, "Okay, I definitely will make it up to you." Emily attempted a grin, but deep inside, all she wanted to do was squash that obnoxious Lisa to death. Chapter 49. We can use a more direct method. Soon arrived home. Ryan was already at the door. Upon seeing James return, he said softly, "Sir." It all started with Nathan's Weibo post, although he did not declare it plainly. The news speculates that Nathan was. James turned around, was confessing to Lisa. He had to be joking. That was ridiculous. James's face clouded, his brows creased like crinkled clothes, skin rolled into hills and hills. James saw that there were many comments below Nathan's Weibo post. "I think they look quite good together after a while if they're together." "So be it. This Lisa looks rather pleasant to the eyes. At least she appears different from the normal famous individuals. Not bad as long as Nathan decided. We approve. Congratulations on being together. Last long." James turned off his phone and glanced up, his face as gloomy as a stormy sky. It gave off a mood so terrifying that no one dared to look directly at him. "Sir, I thought you guys stopped all news about Nathan." Ryan felt cold sweat on his back. "Sir, we did. It's only that this is the first time that Nathan has announced a relationship." Therefore some tabloids continued, "Relationship?" James glared coldly. Ryan understood that he had said the incorrect thing and instantly rectified himself. "Of course. The reporters don't know that Nathan was only joking." James raised his hand to silence him. He pressed his brows and then walked in. Lisa had no idea what was going on. She had just gotten back from the set, mentally and physically weary. She made some quick noodles to console her aching soul. She had barely done when she heard the door. James was home. Lisa was holding a huge bowl of noodles, looking very happy with herself. She wore a small yellow apron with lace at the sides. It looked cute and reflected the warm smile on her petite, delicate face. "James, you're back." She smiled as she put down her noodles that were almost burning her fingers. She pushed her fingers to her earlobes to cool them off. James glanced across to the dish of noodles and replied, "I'm hungry too, oh?" Lisa saw his look and continued, "Shall I cook you a bowl too?" "Yes, okay," he responded, as he nonchalantly laid down the coat in his hand and sat down. Lisa pouted. How unceremonious. She returned to the kitchen and took out the veggie knife. She sliced some vegetables, ham, and broke an egg. James glanced at her and realized that there were some nice times with her. In a conventional household, the husband usually waited at the table while his wife cooked in the kitchen, and scent flooded the air. Lisa carried both bowls to the dining table. James looked at them and questioned. "Why does your bowl have more noodles and vegetables than mine?" Lisa said. "It's not that much more." Without unexpectedly, James reached over for her bowl and took it. "I'm eating yours." "Hey." Lisa wanted to stop him, but he had already started eating her noodles. Lisa could only glance down at her fingers. "I ate a bite of those noodles." James looked up at her sincerely. Lisa felt uneasy with his stare. She hastily waved her hands and said, "Why? It's not like I made you eat it, you were picky." James reached for her bowl and swallowed a hefty gulp. "Hey, James, you. All things should be fair between husband and wife, right?" James justified his argument. Lisa stated depressingly, "I'm not mean like you. It's not like I did it on purpose." James lifted his head and snorted. Lisa's eyes moved. She grinned widely and replied, "It's just exchanging saliva. You eat mine, and I eat yours. It's no big thing, right?" James's face clouded. How could a statement like that feel so warm? Lisa said, "In fact, exchanging saliva actually has health benefits. It improves the immune system and prevents contracting a cold." "Come on, let's continue." James grumbled and looked at Lisa. "If that's the case, there's an even more direct method of exchanging saliva. This is very troublesome, huh?" Lisa stared at him, bewildered. His dark eyes wandered to her beautiful lips that were gleaming in the light. Lisa felt it. She finally knew what he meant. Her face grew crimson. She covered it with her hands. She was speechless. James gazed at her standing angrily over there, unable to take back her words. He grinned happily. However, his gaze could not quit glancing at her lips. Feeling her staring at him, he pushed himself to look aside. Lisa snorted and sat down. James asked while he ate, "Lisa, have you nothing to say to me?" Seeing how she was still in the mood to cook noodles, his heart began to burn up. Lisa replied, "Like what?" James pulled his face. "Like maybe something about tabloids and rumors." Lisa said, About that. It's only a rumor. I don't know what to do either. Do you want to tell Nathan about us so that Nathan has issues with the family? If he knew, he might just announce it to the whole world. Do you want everyone to know about us? Of course not." Lisa shook her head vigorously. Was she mad to announce her marriage with James at this time? The news out there was already overwhelming. How would she be able to continue acting? James looked at her face, written with disdain. Although he wanted to resist, he could not help but start to feel sad. "Do you not want people to know about us so badly?" he asked. Lisa replied, "Of course. We'll get divorced sooner or later. Then, it'll be my second marriage also. I still want to act. The company does not know that I'm married. My contract specifies that I cannot marry for 3 years. I'm already breaching it." James looked at her earnestly, and then bowed his head, picking at his noodles. James remarked, "Although you don't want to expose our relationship, You shouldn't overdo the rumors with Nathan, right? This I guarantee you, I truly know nothing about it, this. She also had no idea why Nathan was crazy enough to make a Weibo statement like that. She felt that Nathan was a rebellious child. With no rumors and under the strict oversight of the firm, he decided to generate some rumors himself. It was all Nathan's doing. It has nothing to do with me. She could only say so much. James answered, I know he is rebellious, but he is never unreasonable. If you tell him honestly that you don't like it, he will respect your opinion. I did. But he refused to delete his Weibo post. Lisa had basically begged him to remove it. Nathan merely proceeded to poke fun at her and not take her request. Seriously, James said. You have to reject him directly. Don't let him harass you. If you don't know how to do that, let me help you, huh? He said. Give me your phone. I'll help you send him a text. With a chilly face, he reached out his hand. Chapter 50. Did you fall in love at first sight with me? Lisa gazed at his solemn expression. Maybe it was so unbearable for him that he was going to get really upset. She took out her phone and looked at it, still not quite wanting to hand it up to him. James did not say anything and snatched her phone. Hey, what are you doing? Lisa asked seriously. She was unhappy that he took her phone simply like that. Lisa hurriedly snatched it back and replied, I don't have his number. We've only been messaging over WeChat. She got her phone, accessed the WeChat app and stated, I can text him myself. As she stated this, she pondered about what to type. Nathan, I don't think it's right of you to dupe your audience. Your Weibo post is overly misleading. Your followers think that you're in love, but that's not true at all. I think it's preferable that you tell the truth. James scowled while she typed. 1 second, she halted, and the next moment, she was all serious, deleting, typing, and hesitating. He impatiently snatched her phone to look. Hey, what are you doing? She questioned as he lifted his brows at her message. This is a rejection? You're having a discussion with him? James glanced at her. Well, Lisa did not want to come out too forcefully. If she insulted Nathan, she would not know what the future held for her. James snorted and added, I'm going to help. You right. You? Lisa realized that he would not do it politely, so she swiftly took her phone. James rose up straight and hoisted the phone up high with his arms. The small Lisa leaped up and down, attempting to reach for it. James stood there calmly and swiftly typed, Nathan, I'm actually already married. I adore my hubby very much. Your acts make me feel like I have let him down, so please don't post such stuff that will easily mislead people and spread rumors. It is for the good of both of us. Lisa saw him write a long paragraph, but it was so hazy that she couldn't make the words out. Lisa felt nervous and pleaded, James, give it back. I want to do it myself. I don't need your help. James did not listen and continued typing furiously. As soon as James pushed send, a reply arrived from Nathan. It read, Are you seriously lying about being married just to avoid me? James' lips twisted up. Do you want me to show you the certificate? I'm truly married, and it absolutely disgusts me that you would get me involved. Disgusted? In what way am I not being decent that it makes you despise me? I thought. You informed me before that I was your highly respected senior. She had actually told Nathan that. James could not help but sigh as he said, Those words were just to compliment you. I assumed you would understand, since you decided to bring me into this mess. Don't tell me you genuinely like me. Now that you mention it, I do quite. Like you. James almost wanted to puke. This Nathan was truly asking for a death wish. James directly said, Sorry, I don't like your type. I like my husband's kind. A man who makes me feel secure. From the time I met him, it was love at first sight. I had to marry him. I have no interest in anyone else, and particularly not your gigolo type. He had just sent the message when Lisa climbed atop the table behind him. Her arms curled around his neck as she climbed onto his back and tried to get her phone back. James, give me my phone back. She shouted and grabbed his hand. James was not finished. He wanted to see what Nathan's reply would be, but he sensed that Lisa had gotten so worried. She bit his arm. Pain-filled. James, this darn dumb woman really bit him. He shouted and released the phone in his grasp. It crashed on the floor with a loud thud. Lisa shouted, James, I'm going to kill you. James felt that she was going to tumble. Remembering that her leg was only recuperating, he hurriedly grasped onto both of them from behind. She had just ceased using the wheelchair, but she had to walk gently. Had she already forgotten the pain? He held her on his back and refused to let her move. You better be careful. What's going to happen if you fell? Lisa was too busy hunting around for her phone to listen to him. She did not aware that her gold and silver necklace was grinding on his back. He felt her delicate bosom press against his body. So obvious. James, don't move. Calm down. James' body grew hot. He felt himself tightening up. No. I don't want to, James. You had no right to steal my phone and drop it. You must pay for it, she demanded. Even though she had her arms around his neck, he could not help but feel his body shiver. Only then did they realize. She was leaning on him, his hands firmly supporting her butt and his shoulders stiff. Her chest was crushed against his back and her face brushed across his cheek. She was just beside his ear, and she could smell the clear, macho scent from his neck. She quickly let go and coughed awkwardly. She did not mean to do that. James ultimately let her leave as well. She stood on the ground, too uneasy to look at him in the eye. James felt better. His heart, which was first racing, ultimately calmed down. He gazed at the woman in front of him. He genuinely felt like strangling her. Naturally, Lisa felt ashamed. She could still feel the warmth of his body. It was so hot and so different from ladies. It was lingering. She suddenly remembered her phone that dropped on the ground. She hurriedly picked it up and scrutinized it. The screen had fallen apart. She looked up, devastated and yelling, James, you'll pay for this. James stared at her indifferently and snorted while staring at the television. She checked her WeChat to discover a message from Nathan. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was such an annoyance to you. I won't disturb you anymore. The next sentence. Read and, I'm not a gigolo. Lisa was near to tears. She scrolled up to read all the texts that James had sent. She turned to him and said, James, I'm not shameless like you. I did not fall in love at first sight with you. Why else did you drug me then? Was it not to get in bed with me? Lisa did not know what to say. Lisa just worried about how she must have offended Nathan. What was she going to do about the next filming set or the promotions for the show? Not to mention, Nathan's influence power was great. If he wished to exact retribution, how was Lisa going to live in the future?